looks
Okay,
like
awesome.
it's working now. So actually, I do have, of course, I have some recipes that we've talked about, but I'm interested in following up with Bob because we also cook gluten-free in our household too. So, Bob, does your wife have, what kind of flour does she recommend?
Well, there's cup for cup, but she tends to like what she gets from King Arthur. So she gets a gluten-free package found every 2 months from them for about 6 or 7 pounds of flour. And that seems to work out best for her recipes. But each and every recipe is a little different because they have to, it's, it's baking is supposed to be precise, but with gluten-free, it's not exactly a match. So you have to really go for whatever you can get.
Yeah, it's interesting because we use cup for cup, and my wife has found that really is a cup equals a cup, and you don't have to worry about the xanthan gum or anything like that for stuff that we do. However, you can't always find it in the store, and last time she bought King Arthur's flour, so I'm happy to hear that your wife likes that because we're going to be trying that pretty soon.
Yeah, I think it works out pretty well.
Yeah, and also we buy Bisquick. Bisquick has a gluten-free Bisquick now, and we make waffles with that, and it's always a treat in our house when we make waffles. That sounds
awesome.
It's one of the things that there are a lot of things that don't taste the same, but gluten-free waffles are just as good as regular waffles. We also make, we call it French toast casserole.
Ooh, that's always good.
Oh my gosh, it's so delicious. Yeah,
my mom makes a great French toast casserole.
Yeah, so always the comfort food, always like stuff that's not good for you, but it's nice and hot and filling.
Well, that kind of thing is nice nowadays.
Yeah, one of the things I find about gluten-free, they're really good the first day, then they're pretty good the second day. But by the third day, you really have a strong constitution to go ahead and eat it, even if it is covered with frosting.
Yeah. Have you been in the store? Have you bought any Jillian's? Jillian's cupcakes and the whoopie pies and the coffee cakes. Those are really good too.
Now, the problem with that is when we buy them in the grocery store, they belong to her.
Oh, I see. That means
I have to wait.
That means you're not buying enough, Bob.
Exactly.
Yeah. My wife also has a recipe for chocolate cake that she makes into cupcakes. I mean, they are better than regular. They're like the best cupcakes I've ever had. They're like just so good.
I think my wife's specialty is blueberry muffins. When she makes blueberry muffins, they come out perfect. You wouldn't know they were gluten-free.
Yeah. Yeah, my son wants to come over to your house already. His favorite.
Well, he could, but there's a virus going around, so I'm afraid he can't.
Yeah, maybe you've heard.
But I think you're quarantining very well, Bob.
Falls right into the ballpark. I like that. Stay away.
Yep. So, Matt, what are you up to?
Well, I actually do really love to cook. I got interested in cooking when I was 12. I was home one night and I was flipping through TV channels and I ended up on the Food Network and there was a pie baking contest and I was like, wow, this is really good. I started watching Food Network a ton. And after a few months of that, I was like, I want to be a chef. That's what I want to do. So then when I was 14, just after I started high school, I actually got a job at the Golden Spoon as an ice cream window attendant. Eventually worked my way into up into fry cook, which I worked there until my junior year of college. So quite a few years. Very quickly learned I didn't want to be a chef after that.
Why?
The restaurant industry was much more demanding than I had imagined. And after a few months, I learned that it wasn't for me personally. Still love to cook though. And like I said, I held that job for years. I loved that job, but it just wasn't what I wanted to do in the long run. But yeah, I love to cook. I make really good chocolate chip cookies.
Yeah. Tell us about some of your specialties.
one of the things I've actually been doing a lot lately is, the last few years mostly, is I'm pretty big into Asian cuisines. So I make really good fried rice. Yeah. Like I asked for. I've always been a weirdo as a kid. I would ask for cooking supplies, like utensils and tools for Christmas and my birthday. So like I asked for a wok for my 24th birthday, I think. I got a chef's knife for Christmas when I was 15.
Wow.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I actually haven't been cooking too much lately. I just personally haven't had a desire, especially with the grocery stores being the way they are. I just haven't wanted to go out and do stuff. I did make Rice Krispie treats the other night, but those aren't exactly complicated. And
No.
I screwed them up. So
Really?
yeah.
This for how long, Matt? Really? The guy who gets wok and a chef's knife for his birthday?
Yeah, I was trying to get them. I think the marshmallows were stale, so they weren't melting properly, and so I overcooked them, and then they came out way too crispy.
Yeah. We've been cooking a lot, obviously, right? Everybody's staying home now. One time our family loves to eat out. We just love to eat, and this was a big transition for us. And we were looking online at Arturo's in Westboro, and they were saying how it was a very, very hard time, and they had to do a lot of really hard things, and they're doing this takeout thing now. So we thought we would try to patronize them one night by ordering the takeout and going there, and the line of cars like stretched all the way around the lot and made this big, huge circle.
Wow.
So it was nice to see that they were still being patronized and being supported. We one of my favorite dishes, and dishes I love, I can get them done in a half an hour. My specialty is haddock or cod with a little cracker crumb topping with broccoli and either mashed potatoes or rice pilaf or rice.
Ooh, yeah.
Depending on our gluten needs. And I could do that whole thing in half an hour, 40 minutes, and be done.
That's a great meal.
And it's one of the ones that makes you feel good. French toast casserole doesn't make you feel really good, but you have a nice fish meal and you feel good.
Yeah, no, it's pretty healthy too. And you're like, yeah, I ate well today. Maybe I can justify ice cream afterwards.
Wait a minute. Wait, you have to justify ice cream? Whoa, that could be a problem.
Well, with the amount that I want to eat ice cream, I do have to justify it. Otherwise, I would eat it every night. And you definitely
Jim,
can't
when
do
you
that.
bake that, do you wrap it up in tin foil and put some lemon squares on it?
No, what I do is I get a Pyrex dish and I blind the bottom with aluminum foil because I hate cleanup. Yep. And I put the fish on there, a little splash of white cooking wine to keep it moist, little sprinkle of adobo on there, and then crushed up Ritz crackers. Oh, and squares of butter along the top too for deliciousness. And then cracker crumb topping, put it in the oven at like 420 for a half an hour, 35 minutes, and it's ready to go.
Wow. Adobo that's the stuff that Chipotle is compact in, right? Adobo powder?
I don't know.
I might be misremembering, but is it like spicy and
no,
smoky?
It's like salty. It's like a salt.
Oh, then maybe I'm misremembering something else. Or they sing something. I don't know.
I like because I love salt, but whenever I put too much on, my family always says it's too salty.
Yeah, I definitely overate salt as a kid and a teenager, like just oversalting my fries. So my salt tolerance is higher than most people. So I tend to make things a little saltier than they should be. It's not as bad as it used to be, though.
Yeah.
And it's definitely not as bad as my grandfather.
I'm a big griller. I grilled some delicious chicken yesterday, and it was seasoned with a nice mustard sauce and some salt and garlic. It came out wonderful, but a big fan of the grill. And guys, we got some great interaction on social media about this as well. If you want me to
let us hear it.
All right. Well, we had someone that Jim knows very well on Instagram saying that she makes chicken rice and gravy.
That sounds good.
Oh my gosh, she makes the best chicken rice and gravy. It's so good. Gets this pile of rice, gets this delicious thick brown gravy, and the chicken is just so tender, like falls apart just by looking at it. It's one of my all-time. My mom makes the best chicken rice and gravy.
Oh, I'm getting hungry just by listening to all these different great recipes you guys are talking about. But also on Facebook, we had Christina sent us a very nice picture of what she's been making. It's pork chops marinated in lime juice, salt, pepper, garlic powder, and chili powder, and roasted summer squash and zucchini with Parmesan cheese and white rice. Boy, does that sound delicious.
I just want to put out there, this is turning into a terrible idea for a topic.
just
That's so bad now.
Well, dinner's in a few hours, or whenever. Time means nothing anymore. But
yeah. So Tom, tell us your best grilling dish that you make.
Well, I love the classic cheeseburgers. I also love grilling sausage. That's always good. I made a nice sausage burger the other day and put some peppers and onion on it. It was delicious. Kind of like something you'd get at a ball game.
Nice.
But also chicken. I love grilling chicken. It's tough to pick a favorite because I get in different moods on any given day when I'm grilling. Either cheeseburgers or chicken wings. You can't go wrong with that. And kielbasa is tremendous to grill. So flavorful. And of course, steak. Can't go wrong with steak. So,
ooh, yeah.
Now, what do you do for marinades or rubs or toppings or anything? Or do you just go with the straight food on the grill?
Well, for steak, we use salt, typical like sea salt. And my wife is Brazilian, so we cook a lot of food Brazilian style as well. And they're big into the big grains of salt that you just pretty much throw on the meat. And for the most part, that's what we use. But sometimes I switch it up, like last night with the honey mustard and also garlic. I'm a big garlic guy, so I always typically throw some garlic on there as well. But it's very simple seasoning. Not overly complicated. Sometimes when I'm doing the chicken wings, I'll go with the barbecue sauce. I just found it was a whiskey maple barbecue sauce, and I put it on the chicken wings, and that was tremendous.
Mm-hmm.
So,
did anybody ever have Jack Daniel's, like a honey maple marinade? Jack Daniel's in a bag. It was the best marinade in the world. And last year they stopped making it for some reason. We used to put salmon in there for a couple hours, and wow, it was teriyaki, honey teriyaki, Jack Daniel's.
That sounds very familiar.
Yeah.
I don't think I ever tried that.
Years ago, we made a dish from Fridays. There's a website where they replicate the dishes from restaurants, and they had a recipe from Fridays for a Jack Daniel's something, and it was really good. And it took my wife and I, literally, it took us all day to make this thing. It was insane. We had to like crush garlic and grill it, and then make the marinade and do that. It took all day to make this dish, and it was really good. But boy, it wasn't worth a whole day.
Well, at least it burned some time.
That's like a whole day.
One thing my wife made recently with her sister is empanadas, and that is a Brazilian pastry, and it typically has either steak in it with cheese, or chicken, or ham and cheese, and it's absolutely delicious. I'll try to pull a picture up here to show you, but very good. It's nice and crunchy, very flavorful. Empanadas, I highly recommend giving it a try.
I tried those at a place in Costa Rica a few years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they were really good. Those ones were chicken and beans.
Yeah, very common in South America.
Anybody?
There's other things you can put on the grill, like I can like the grilled vegetables on there. grilled onions are good.
Yeah.
Asparagus, squash, obviously potatoes, but there are any number of vegetables that go well with any meat that you grill on.
Do you put them on skewers?
No, I don't. I have a tray that I put things like asparagus, broccoli, any kind of mix of vegetables, but I'll put corn on the cob on the grill.
That's my
Sometimes I'll
favorite.
leave them husks or soaked in water and then steam them on there. But I like them better when they get a little burnt crunchy on them.
Yeah.
I tried that once. And I did that. I took the husk off and I just put it right down on the grate. And I thought it was going to be overly burnt, but just the outside chars and the inside is juicy and delicious. And it was so good. It was the best corn I've ever had.
That reminds me, there's a restaurant in Shrewsbury or Worcester called Via, an Italian restaurant.
Ooh, very good.
Oh, they have a grilled Caesar salad. And I really like Caesar salad, but I'm thinking, you're going to grill this lettuce? That's just weird. It is super delicious. Super delicious. It's so good.
The owners of Via, I believe, are the same owners of the sole proprietor and the 111 Chop House.
Yes. Here's a little story. My wife and I, on our first date, we went to the sole proprietor, and that guy just always wanted to own a steakhouse. So he built a 111 Chop House. And then I guess he always just wanted to have an Italian restaurant. He built Via.
All
I've
three
always
of them
wanted
are
to try
excellent.
that place.
Yeah. It's really cool because that's the kind of story where you just know these people do it because they're passionate about it. You know, it's not about putting up a franchise. It's not about making money. It's about doing something in a particular style. And at the Chop House, my favorite was I don't know what cut of steak it was, but it has pepper on it. Like, oh, that's really.
Oh,
good.
was it steak au pois?
No, that doesn't sound that. I think I would remember that name.
Okay.
No, it was just like like I don't know. Like I don't know. I don't know what the name is, but it's just a regular steak that's been rolled in pepper or something like that.
Okay.
And it's very delicious.
Oh, that sounds wonderful.
Mm.
Actually, I just pulled up a picture of some of the social media responses we got. This is the
that looks
pork
great.
chops with the zucchini. Looks amazing. And then see if I could pull up another one here.
So there was cheese on those veggies, huh? Was that cheese?
I believe so. Let me go back to the description here. It was
Yeah, it looks like it.
yes, roasted summer squash and zucchini with Parmesan cheese and white rice.
Wow. That looks good.
And pork chops with lime juice, salt, pepper, garlic powder, and chili powder. Oh, looks very good. And then another one she shared is macaroni with meat sauce. It is.
Oh, that's so good. Oh, yeah.
Can't beat that. Can't beat that.
Yeah. Yeah. I love a good meat sauce. Although my wife, just last weekend, we spent several hours making a whole bunch of meatballs. And those homemade meatballs are good too.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's the classic Italian dish: spaghetti and meatballs.
Yeah. Yeah. And what's nice, all five of us are at home now because I have one guy who's graduated and two kids are in college and they're home right now. So it's been a while, but all five of us are home now. And there's some really nice times where we're cooking and we're setting the table and everybody's chipping in and you're just chatting. It can be really nice.
Can I ask, is there anything that you'd say you don't want to eat? You don't want to cook?
Well, there is
I have an answer to that, but
yeah, go ahead.
This is a bit of a hot take on my part. I'm actually not really a fan of pasta.
Wow.
Yeah. I have a defense of this. I like pasta and cream sauces. So I love fettuccinis. And Alfredos and stuff. But I'm not a fan of tomato sauce. It was actually only in the last year or two that I really started to like tomato sauce when I started using a spicy sauce. So I'm getting more into it, but it's never as satisfying for me to eat a meal that's one thing. So like a plate of pasta. Like I like to have like 2 or 3 things on a plate. It's more satisfying for me, and so I don't get much enjoyment out of pasta personally.
Mm. And I was trying to think of like, what don't I like to cook? I would say I'm really lucky because my wife will eat anything. She's just like she'll eat anything. So I'm actually the limiting factor. There are a lot of things that she would say, "Oh, these are really good," and I don't think like Brussels sprouts. Brussels sprouts just smell evil. They just I can't get past that. But even with those, like I find that if I reframe it, so I'm not cooking Brussels sprouts because I'm going to eat them. I'm just in the kitchen working around with my wife as we're cooking together, and that makes it a lot more fun. And she's also very sensitive to making things that I like to eat too. So, for example, we don't really cook pork chops because I'm not really like a great fan of those.
Mm-hmm.
But I just think looking at it as time spent together makes everything more enjoyable.
Mm-hmm. That's very true.
Mm.
Oh, absolutely. That's one of the few things that's great is you get to spend more time with your family and have those good old fashioned family dinners. I feel like when you're busy during normal, when life's normal, I guess it's tough to get close with the family and really have those types of moments. So it's certainly one of the few good things I guess about things that are happening right now.
It is so easy to be busy in today's society, especially in different directions. That it is good to look for good things in this particular time.
Yeah, absolutely. And we did get a few more comments. And Samantha Dings, who's one of our volunteers, she says she's making a lot of homemade meat pasta sauce, baking desserts, and breads from scratch.
Yeah. Oh, bread from scratch. Wow. That's good.
That's tough. That takes
Yeah.
a while.
I had my first experience with that last fall. I tried a roll recipe that I wanted to try before Thanksgiving, and they were good, but it was way too much effort for what wouldn't have been enough rolls for my family's Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
I would have had to make like 4 batches just to have maybe enough rolls.
Yeah. But just think back to feeling like I can to this day remember what my house smelled like as a kid when my mother was baking bread in the house.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, such a great smell. Evokes such a great feeling.
Oh, and Mike, who's watching from over at the fire station, he said he made lasagna, especially now that the stores are out of the common pasta like ziti and spaghetti. So that sounds good. And then we
Yeah.
had somebody else say they're making steak and they like to put garlic salt on it.
Oh, garlic salt is so good.
I know.
Garlic pepper is also really good. Maybe garlic is just good.
Garlic is just
Oh,
good.
yeah.
It's just garlic. When I love to make a ziti broccoli chicken dish, and I white wine and garlic, but over the years I've just gotten used to not putting garlic in because it kind of stays with you for a while,
Mm-hmm.
But it's delicious.
It
Oh,
gets
I
rid of the
love-
vampires, though.
That's really not much of a problem around here, Tom.
Well, that's because there's a lot of garlic now.
Yeah. All right.
But yeah, if anybody wants to comment, we're accepting comments all show long through our YouTube stream or our Facebook page, and we'll have Heather Backman from the Hopkinton Public Library joining us shortly.
And also, let me just add, actually, even after the show, send us your recipes and send us your pictures like you're getting. Those are awesome.
Mhm.
We really appreciate that. And we love to share that out with the rest of the community.
Oh, absolutely. And Mike is sending his recipe for lasagna, but it seems
Good.
pretty long. I don't know if we have time to read it.
No.
Yeah. No, definitely not. But lasagna is good. Actually, what I said about pasta, that does not apply to lasagna. I do actually love lasagna.
Okay.
All right. Well, I think perhaps we're ready to transition, but first, maybe Matt, you could give us an update of what's coming up this week here on HCAM.
All right, guys, I'll catch you on the other side. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye, Jim. Well, we actually have a lot coming up on this program this week, Tom, as always. We're going to be seeing Ann Ty tomorrow from the public library. We're going to be talking about what people are reading. I have a few things planned for the second half of that show where we're going to be talking about acts of kindness. So if and I just want to plug that a little bit. If anyone listening has any acts of kindness from the recent times that they want to share, we would love to get them. So you can comment. You can hit us up at Facebook. You can email me at mco@hcam.tv, and I would love to hear those. And we're also going to be talking with a lot of people throughout the rest of the week. We have a lot planned, and we'll see where everything goes from there. And also, there are binge blocks every day right after this program at 3 p.m. This week, they're all on HCAM Ed, and they're all various previous Hiller sports seasons. Today is boys soccer, I believe. So
terrific. And I'm not sure if you mentioned this yet, but also some government meetings this week. We got the Zoning Advisory Committee tonight, Select Board tomorrow night at 6:30 or 6:30, and then School Committee on Thursday at 7.
Yes. Thank you for reminding me.
So without further ado, I think we are ready to welcome in Heather Backman from the Hopkinton Public Library. And she is getting situated now.
Oh, am I visible? Am I
Yes.
audible? Excellent.
How you doing,
I can't
Heather?
see anything. I'm doing well. How are you?
Very good.
I'm seeing black on my own screen. Is that supposed to be happening? I can see myself.
No, not necessarily.
I don't know.
That's okay. I can talk to you if I can.
I don't know. You're coming through clear on our end, though. So.
Okay, great. Well,
yeah, you're coming through clear on our end. If you could just maybe tilt down your webcam a little bit.
how's that?
Perfect.
That's about as vertical as I can get it. There we go.
Yeah, perfect.
Oh! That you were.
Let me do this. Let me prop a book behind it.
There you go.
Good library dog. How's that? Good?
Excellent. We'll take it. So Heather, how are you doing, and how are the other staff members at the library doing?
We're doing good. We're doing all right. It's a weird situation for everybody, I think, but I've been really proud of the way people have dived in and really tried to figure out a way to work through this. And I've got a great team. We're all pulling together. Everybody's healthy. Everybody's doing stuff to take care of themselves. So we're hanging in there right alongside everybody else.
Terrific. And what are the services that are currently being offered online at the library, and how could a member go about accessing those services? And if someone isn't currently a member, is there a way that they could access those services? Because I understand the physical library is closed to the public right now, if I'm correct.
Mm-hmm. That's correct. Yeah, we are closed to the public at our building. A lot of what we're doing is available just freely, openly on the web. We have, if you go to our homepage and you scroll down a little bit, there's a couple of links to informational pages that we're keeping up. There's one about COVID-19, and there's one that's just a list of things to do, which we are constantly adding to and updating. Those are freely available. We're posting content on our Facebook feed and our Twitter feed, which you can see publicly without having to have a card at all. We're available still by phone, email, and now newly by chat. So again, any of that, give us a call. We are not answering the phone right now, but if you leave a voicemail, we're checking it. We get back to people. We're answering email. And now if you go to our website, hopkintonlibrary.org, From 10 to 5, Monday through Friday, you'll see this big blue speech bubble kind of icon up at the top. And if you click on that, you can chat directly to a reference librarian in real time. So that's what people can do without even having a card. People can join. We are offering some online programming. So our children's librarian is doing story times. You do have to have a Facebook account to participate, because you have to join a closed group to participate in that. But that's been very popular. We're looking at offering some other programming that, again, people will probably have to be able to sign into, an online system of some sort to do it. But that's open to anybody that wants to join. Some of the things that we're offering that do require a library card would be our downloadable book service is still active, and we're putting more money into it. The consortium's putting more money into it. A lot of libraries are putting more money into it to try to get more and more content there, because that really is what most people are able to use right now. And we also have, for our own card holders, we have a database that's newspapers. So articles from local newspapers, national newspapers, international newspapers, you can get through that. We have a little bit of additional content here and there. We have a language learning service called Mango Languages that you can get. And those things, they do need a library card to sign into. But if you don't have a card right now, at least for the Overdrive downloadable ebooks, audiobooks, and magazines, the consortium has turned on a feature called Overdrive Instant Digital Card. And what that is you can go in to the site and put in your phone number. And if your phone number's billing address is within the service area of a CW Mars library, you can get a temporary card that will let you into those services, let you download books and ebooks and magazines for a limited period of time without having to go to a library and show ID and get a real card. So there's at least that's more accessible now to people. And we really encourage anybody who's having trouble accessing anything to reach out to us, call us, email us, chat at us. We want to help you get it sorted out and make sure that as many people as possible can get access to as much as possible.
Yeah, that's really terrific that you guys still have so many services available to the library members. And if you're looking to join the library, you could certainly reach out to the Hopkinton Public Library staff about doing so. Um, if somebody had a book to return with the library not currently accepting returns, what would be the procedure for the book returns?
Well, right now we're asking everybody, to hold on to everything, and everything's due date is being extended. Will continue to be extended at least as long as we're closed, and probably a little bit after we reopen. Um, we are not quite sure what book returns are going to look like when we're back in the building. It will depend a little bit on where we are with COVID at that point and how we're feeling about whether we need to maintain quarantine procedures for incoming materials or not, because we did implement that before we closed while we were still accepting some returns. So the key thing really is call us or watch our website, watch us. We'll post information as we have it. And we will ask, actually, if we reopen, and we expect a lot of people are going to want to come right back in, and that's great. We're looking forward to seeing you. But if you don't plan to come right back to the library, if you don't need to come right back, but you have things to return, I'd actually ask people to think about holding on for a couple of weeks, even after we're open, because we're expecting a lot of use and a lot of returns. And we're thinking about ways to kind of maybe spread out what we're going to get, so we don't get quite so much of a deluge all at once, and staff can handle it better. So certainly if you have things to bring back and you're coming back to the library and you want to bring them, go for it. But if you weren't planning on coming for another couple weeks anyway, well, we hope you're coming sooner than that. But if you don't need to come, if you weren't planning to come, if you actually give us a couple weeks and then bring your materials back, that would be very, very helpful to us. And people don't need to worry about fines. We're going to be very, very forgiving fines. There's no reason to charge anybody late fees for what's been going on. Like I said, we're extending due dates. We really, our goal is to make sure that, we aren't imposing any extra hardship on anybody else because of the situation. So, yeah.
Absolutely. And could you talk? Obviously, you got a lot of online programs going. Could you talk about the ways that the library staff is staying in contact and coordinating with each other?
Sure. Well, we have a daily check-in by video. Anybody who's on the schedule that day checks in, which has been really great just for not just keeping in touch with what's going on in the work, but keeping in touch as people. I think one of the challenging things when you're not co-located with your coworkers is, when you're all together in the same building, you just kind of get to small talk sometimes, and you get to interact with people as people, and that's how you really build and sustain relationships. So we're spending time not just on these chats talking about the work that needs to be done or the concerns that we have or the roadblocks we're seeing, but looking at people's pets that happen to wander across the screen, or asking about what we're cooking or what we're reading, or what else is going on in our lives, which has been really wonderful. And then it's a lot more email than it used to be. It's people are phone calling each other, we're video chatting each other, in one-on-one or smaller groups. We are taking really, really full advantage of the collaboration elements in Google Docs and the ability to have everybody editing a document simultaneously. So we've got a brainstorming document for ideas that everybody just throws their ideas into, and everybody can see it and comment and talk about it. I'm a spreadsheet girl, so I immediately created a couple of tracking spreadsheets that everybody can see, so they can sort of see what other people are doing. It's been an interesting challenge to adjust to kind of keeping on top of what everybody's up to without physically being in the same space, but I think we're handling it reasonably well. And I'm really proud of the job my team is doing, and the fact we've been able to really do so much so quickly in such changed work circumstances.
Yeah, it's been a tough transition for everybody, I would say, and it's been one that we all had to make rather quickly. I think a lot quicker than a lot of people expected. So you mentioned a number of the online services that are available, and we'll just kind of have you reiterate some of the additional ones that have become available since the virus pandemic, just so people know about them. You mentioned about the ability to chat with the reference librarian. Could you talk about that program a little more, and any of the other online programs that were specifically added with the virus pandemic?
Sure. The program is really pretty simple, actually. It's you see the big blue bubble, and it actually turns gray when there isn't somebody signed in to take your chat, so you know when staff are available or not. Um, but pretty much you click on it and it pops up a little chat window. Those of us who were online, back in the 90s may find it very familiar looking. And you just type hello or whatever it is you want to type, and on our end, there are usually 1 to 3 of us signed in on our end at any given time, and somebody will see, oh, hey, someone's chatting at us, and just type back, hello, this is Hopkinton Reference Department. How can we help you? And you can, kind of a little back and forth over text. It's very, very easy to use. And we've already had a few people taking advantage of it, and it's been really great to be able to help people that way. What else we've primarily been doing that is I don't almost want to say new, because everything that we're doing is stuff we've already been doing. It's just a little bit in a different format now. But we have been starting to run programs online. So especially our children's department has been running story times. I've got the schedule here because I can't keep it all in my head. We're doing story times now at 10 a.m. Monday, Wednesday, Fridays for ages 0 through 3, and then 11 a.m. on Mondays and Fridays for preschool age, and a 7 p.m. family pajama story time on Wednesday nights. And then we're going to be adding, I think as of this week, a lunchtime kind of chat and read story time for grades kindergarten through 5th grade at noon on Wednesdays. So that's been huge. And we're working on some other programming coming for the older age groups as well, for teens and for adults. That's been the really new stuff that we just weren't doing it all online before. But I think there's also things that we offer that may look new to people because they just didn't know that we were doing them before, like our newspapers database, which has been a relatively recent addition to what we offer, but we've had it for a month or two now, and you can get in and you can read local newspapers. We actually got it because it aggregates Hopkinton Independent, or is it the Crier? It may be both. I think it may be the Crier that it aggregates online, but it also has local newspapers, national newspapers, international newspapers. I know we have folks in town who may be interested in reading Indian or Chinese newspapers. It has some of that stuff, and that's new. And for a lot of people who I know, people come in, they pick up a paper from our newspaper stand, they sit in the cozy chairs on the first floor and they read it. We can't offer that experience right now, but you can still get access to the newspaper even if you don't have a subscription through that database if you have a library card. So that's been one of the things that's actually an ongoing service, but I think that people may not be aware that we offered it, and it may be especially valuable now to them that we do.
That's really cool. You could stay informed with newspapers all over the world. That's a great service you guys are providing. Could you talk more about the story time? Can you talk about what it is for those that may not know what it is?
Sure. It's our children's librarian, Mrs. C. She has a little setup where she streams it. You have to go to our Facebook page, and there's a group called something like Hopkinton Library Storytime Group. You have to click on that and request to join to be able to watch. That's the one thing about it. It's a closed group. But what she'll do is she'll read a couple of picture books, and she will hold them up to the screen so everybody can see the pictures. And she'll do some singing or finger play. You may remember this kind of thing, the itsy bitsy spider kind of stuff from story times of our own growing up. And she'll usually do a craft of some sort. And she's been looking for things that are easy to do with things that people will already have around the house as much as she can, knowing that we can't exactly all run out and get more supplies. And if you watch the comment feed afterwards, there will be people who post pictures of the crafts their kids made. It's really fun. It's a nice little community.
That's great. And I believe Bob had a question.
Hi, this is Bob Hamilton. I hope you can hear me all right.
Hi, Bob. You're a little crackly, but I can make you out. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'll try and be clearer. I just wondered what kind of association you have with the rest of the libraries in the area. I know they've offered book sharing where you can draw books from all around the area, but now that everybody is shut down, you must have some of their books, they have some of your books. How's that working together?
So right now, the main way that we're working together is actually that our downloadable books collection, Overdrive, is a project of the C.W. Myers Consortium. It's not something that's just ours. So that collection is sort of like the collection that we have where you can put a hold on something and it comes from the library and it comes in. Electronically, you're doing the same thing a lot of the time. I'm also finding that a lot of the way we're working together right now is just staff and directors talking. We have listservs, email listservs, and especially when all this started, there was a lot of email. So we are all kind of collectively problem solving, and every library has its own individual solution because every library is in a unique community doing its own thing for that community. But we're talking a lot about shared solutions. We're talking about what other people are doing so we can learn from that and what to do or what not to do depending on how it's worked out for them. That's been a lot of the kind of biggest way that we're working together right now is on the back end as a community of professionals to support each other. The books are in an interesting state. The statewide book delivery system was actually shut down in, I want to say, mid to late March. And one of the big questions is when and how it resumed and how it handles all of those transports that are going to be happening when it comes back up. I don't think we have an answer for that yet. And I'm very pleased to say that that's a problem that other people are solving. But I think we're going to have a period of time where maybe we prioritize, there's back end ways that holds work. Maybe we prioritize if we have a book in our library and somebody has a hold on it, even if it's not our book, it goes out on hold to that person so that somebody can get a book faster, and it reduces the strain on moving all these books back around to where they really belong once we all reopen.
Thank you.
I hope that answered your question.
Yes, it does.
And kind of going on with Bob's question, do the various libraries in the area have some kind of sharing program with ebooks as well?
Yep, that's through Overdrive. So when you go into Overdrive, our downloadable ebook audiobook service, you're looking at a shared collection. There's a way that libraries can purchase individual copies of things that are sort of theirs. But even those, we have that, we do that. And we have a setting turned on so that those are also shared. So what that means is just that if we own our own kind of individual copy of an ebook and a Hopkinton resident has a hold on it and wants it, the Hopkinton resident gets priority. But if there's some other town's resident who has a hold on it and there's nobody from Hopkinton who said, hey, I want that, then that copy can circulate to that other person from another town as well. It's a really nice system because it means that libraries can spend money that most directly benefits their local residents, but then that also contributes to the overall resource sharing beyond that when the local demand isn't there. So that's a resource that is consortium funded. We pay $20,000 a year approximately to be a member of the CW Mars Consortium, and a good chunk of that actually just goes towards funding that collection in the downloadable ebook service. The state is also kicking in money through sort of statewide distribution to library networks to support that service. And that's a collaborative project. That is by no means just us. I wish we had the money to have that much content, just us.
Well, it certainly opens up the selection, that's for sure.
Yeah.
So speaking of the collection, can you talk about some recent releases that people can look forward to through the library, or perhaps upcoming releases in the near future?
And tomorrow may be a better one to ask that, especially for the YA stuff. But what I will direct people to, it's a little bit less useful now because it's mostly tied into our physical collections. They're trying to make it work for the digital ones. But there's a newsletter that we have called Wowbrary. And you can go, if you go onto our website, there's a little thing in the right-hand sidebar that says sign up to receive library news, and you can go there and sign up for it. And it emails you every week or every couple of weeks what we've just bought and added to the collection. That's where I'm going to send people. I wish I had more time to read reviews. Once you hit this level, actually, you don't get to keep up that much on the newest and best. But we are also creating some Pinterest lists. If you go to our website and look at the top, there's a little Pinterest icon. And I've got staff now who are creating book lists for that. And everything there, it's not just new stuff, it's interesting stuff as well. And it's all linked into that Overdrive system. So it's not things that you would have to wait to get physically. It's all things that are available online. What I'm reading now, honestly, is actually very old stuff. Everybody's doing comfort eating, and boy, it was fun to listen to everybody the first half hour of the show. I'm doing comfort reading, so I'm reading actually some Mercedes Lackey from the mid 80s. That's just really easy, comforting, uplifting fantasy. And that's what I'm going back to is stuff that I read when I was in middle school or high school, or that I really, enjoy and that isn't too taxing at this point in time.
Right, stuff that makes you feel good, right?
Yeah.
and since you mentioned it, we were talking about what people are cooking in the first half of the show. So what are you cooking?
I made my very first lasagna yesterday.
Oh, wow.
I've made on my own. I've made lasagna before with like my mother, but I actually made a lasagna. It was very easy, and I felt very accomplished. And we have this. I don't have the book here with me. We got this great cookbook out from the library. It's Mark Bittman. It's can't remember the title of it, but it's really interesting because he does basically, here's a kind of a food, and here's a really quick, easy way to make it. Here's a, vegan way to make it, and here's an all-out fancy way to make it. And there's this dal recipe, and dal is lentils. It's an Indian dish that we keep making from it because it's so good. And you don't make naan. He just has you take store-bought tortillas and basically pan fry them in butter, and it tastes just as good, and it takes 2 minutes. And I'd buy the whole book for that recipe alone. It's amazing.
That sounds delicious. That's really cool. That book showing you how to make it different dishes in different ways. So what are some of the things that you've been doing to pass this time and to keep yourself occupied while we are all social distancing?
Cooking, definitely cooking. It's actually been, it's weird to say it's nice in a sense, but all of a sudden I'm going on a lot more walks than I used to, which is good for health all around. Having the time to just wander around outside for an hour. We have a big cemetery next to our house, so it's a lot of open space, and you don't get too close to people. And we're near a river walk, so it's been real nice to be able to take time to walk, to take time to read, which, as a librarian, you actually have a lot less time to read than you would normally like. And just kind of, taking space. I think it's important to recognize we always want to be so productive, I think, in this society, and especially now we're all under a lot of stress, and it's important to take care of yourself and just give yourself space to not do anything for a while. So I've got a really brainless video game that I've gotten into sometimes when I just need to sit and not do much of anything. And I'm coloring and keeping pretty busy.
Yeah, I think it's important to relax nowadays here and there, especially since it's such a stressful time.
Yeah.
So, with hope that you're back to normal at the library, we'll say early May, certainly crossing our fingers there. Do you know of any summer programs that people can look forward to?
Well, I'm sure we're going to run some sort of summer reading. We're talking about it now. This is typically when we'd be planning it. So people should watch for that. And what exactly it's going to look like this year is something we're still figuring out, because in part of that, fingers crossed, are we all going to be back in May kind of question. So, typically we would have several very large events, 50, 60, 70, 80 people, especially for the kids, with big performers. And they're usually themed to the theme. This year's summer reading theme is sort of fantasy related. It's a super cool theme. We are talking about, whether to do that, and if so, who to book. My children's librarian is, I think, lining up some possibilities to book. We don't have anybody firmed up yet. We're also talking about what happens if people don't want to come to very large events, or we're being told not to lead very, very large events. What can we do that is maybe smaller but also engaging? What can we do where people can drop in at their own time, on their own pace, and do something? It's a little bit up in the air, but I do want people to watch for it, because we're going to figure something out. Summer reading is a big thing here, and it's a big thing for a lot of the kids. We get great participation. We had something like over 800 kids participate last year. And we aren't going to just not do anything for it. So watch our website, watch our Facebook and our Twitter, and I'm sure we'll send information to HCAM as well. So watch HCAM. We'll be sharing more information out as soon as we have a sense of what's kind of going on with the whole COVID situation, and then how we are able to respond to that.
Well, we certainly hope that this whole COVID situation will be over sooner than later. Before
Yes.
we let you go, I have to ask, what do you miss most about being at the library and being physically open to the public?
Oh, I think it's just the people. I mean, you get a lot of people who come up to you and say, I want to be a librarian. I love books so much. But the truth of it is, if you're going to be in public libraries and you're going to be a good public librarian, it's not books that you have to love. It's people. And we, we miss people. We miss our regulars. We miss our people who are less regular. Um, it's yeah, I'm in this job because I want to help people, and we're still able to help people in this circumstance, and I'm so proud and so glad that we're able to. But it's not really the same thing as being able to sit there next to somebody or cross the desk with somebody and really dig in to help them solve a problem face to face. So yeah, I think we're just really looking forward to getting back in and opening and being able to see everybody again. And I hear that people are looking forward to be able to see us again. So uh, that's what I think is really a lot of us are feeling like we're really lacking the most.
Well, Heather, you and the Hopkinton Library staff have done a great job at continuing to provide many services through this tough time. So we certainly want to thank you and the library staff for continuing to provide these great services to allow people to read their favorite books, stay informed. Thanks for all you do, and thanks for joining us today on the show.
No, thanks. Thanks so much for having me. And thank you guys for putting this together. This is great. One of the things that we've been thinking about is how to reach people who may not have Facebook, Twitter, and knowing that, we can be beamed into the living room of anybody with a TV connection who wants to tune into HCAM is huge right now in particular. So I really appreciate it. And it's fun to watch these.
Thank you. We appreciate that. Well, it's certainly our hope to continue to stay in touch with the community as much as possible. And this is just one of the many ways we are doing so. And we'll be doing one every weekday, 2:00, Hopkinton Hangout Hour. And we love to hear your feedback, comments, questions on our Facebook or YouTube page as well. You can comment right on the YouTube live stream or our Facebook page, or you can email comments to studio@hcam.tv. But we are just about out of time. Once again, Heather, thanks so much for joining us. We'll certainly hopefully have you back very soon. And for everybody here at HCAM, I'm Tom Nappy. This has been the Hopkinton Hangout Hour, and we will see you tomorrow afternoon at 2 p.m. Thanks again, everybody, and enjoy the rest of your day.